This Notebook LM video explores the enduring connection between angels and stars across various belief systems, tracing the idea from ancient times to the present. Ancient texts and scriptures often use terms like morning stars and sons of God to refer to angels. In the New Testament, stars are explicitly said to symbolize them, while planets are linked to archangels.
All right, let's dive into one of the most fascinating and honestly, one of the oldest ideas in human history, this deep, deep connection between angels and the stars we see in the night sky.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about this? Why do we wish on a falling star, but then we talk about trusting in a guardian angel? On the surface, those two things seem like they have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
But here's the thing. They're not separate at all. They are actually two sides of the same ancient coin. These ideas are leftovers from a time when people looked up and didn't just see balls of gas and dust. No, they saw a living, breathing, divine space.
So, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to go way back. We're talking thousands of years, to the ancient Near East. That's where this whole story really gets started.
See, for these ancient cultures, the universe wasn't this cold, empty void. Not at all. It was this magnificent, hierarchical place. And everything in it, especially those bright lights in the sky, had both a physical side and a spiritual side. The heavens were literally alive.
And this wasn't some abstract, poetic idea. It was super concrete. Like in Mesopotamia, the sun, the moon, the planets. They weren't just symbols of the gods. In many cases, they were the gods. The planet Venus, that bright morning star, that was the goddess Inanna, or Ishtar. So the way these celestial beings moved across the sky, that was like a divine language, a script that could tell you what was going to happen down here on Earth.
But then, of course, the world changes. A massive theological shift comes along. Monotheism, the belief in one God. And suddenly having a sky full of different star gods, well, that becomes a big problem. So what do? You adapt. And this adaptation was absolutely brilliant.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The old view, stars are gods, each with their own power. The new monotheistic view, now angels govern the stars. They're like celestial managers, intermediaries, all working for the one big boss. The stars themselves aren't divine, but they're run by divine beings.
And this is the really key takeaway here. They didn't just throw out the old worldview rope, they reframed it. The heavens were still humming with spiritual power, but now it was all organized under a single divine authority. You can almost think of it like a giant celestial corporation, with everyone reporting up to the CEO.
And this isn't just a theory. We see it written down plain as day in ancient texts. The Book of Enoch, which was a massively important text in early Jewish thought, just comes right out and says it. The stars are led by angels rather than gods. Boom. There it is. That's the new cosmic blueprint.
And from there, this new blueprint gets woven right into the scriptures themselves. You can find this angel star link all over the place if you know where to look.
Okay, check out this incredible line from the book of Job. In ancient Hebrew poetry, they have this thing called parallelism, where you say the same thing twice but with different words to add emphasis. So when it says the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy, it's not talking about two different groups. Morning stars and sons of God, which was a common way to say angels, are the same beings. The stars are the angels. This idea keeps popping up. Now take this super famous verse from Isaiah. Originally, this was a jab at a Babylonian king, kind of mocking his ego. But look at the language it uses. A morning star falling from heaven. This image of a falling star to describe a powerful being getting knocked off their pedestal, well, that imagery is going to have a huge, huge legacy.
Because, get this, when the Bible was translated into Latin, that term morning star became Lucifer. Yep, that Lucifer. Before it became the name for the devil, Lucifer was just a Latin word for lightbringer. It was the name for the planet Venus. So, you see how it happened? A poem about a fallen king using the image of a falling star gets translated, and suddenly that star's name, Lucifer, becomes forever tied to the story of a fallen angel.
And just in case there was any doubt left, by the time we get to the New Testament, the book of Revelation just spells it out for us. No poetry, no metaphor. It says, the mystery of the seven stars. The seven stars are the angels of the seven churches. It couldn't be any more direct.
So you see how this all comes together? This amazing celestial drama gets hardwired into our religious language.
A falling star stops being just a random meteor. It becomes this incredibly powerful symbol for a rebellion in heaven, for angels being cast out.
But this idea didn't just stay in the realm of poetry and symbolism. Oh no. During the medieval period, it became the foundation for science, for cosmology. This was, and I mean this literally, how they thought the universe actually worked.
Think about it. Before Isaac Newton and the concept of gravity, how would you explain the planets moving in these perfect clockwork orbits? What's making them go? The answer was simple and kind of beautiful. Angels. Angels were the engines of the universe. They were the intelligences that physically pushed the planets and stars along their celestial tracks.
And they didn't just guess at this stuff, they mapped it out in incredible detail. I mean, look at this. It's basically a celestial org chart. You have the top-tier angels, the seraphim, and their job is to move the primum mobile, the giant outermost sphere that turned the whole universe. Then you have other angelic orders, like the powers, managing the general traffic. And then specific archangels get assigned to specific jobs. Michael's in charge of the sun. Gabriel's got the moon. It was a whole cosmic administration.
And this thinking wasn't just limited to mainstream religion. Oh no, mystical traditions like Kabbalah and Renaissance magic took this concept and ran with it. They built these incredibly complex systems where an archangel wasn't just pushing Jupiter around, they were also in charge of the spiritual energy of Jupiter, things like expansion and good fortune. It got really, really detailed.
Okay, so obviously we eventually figured out gravity, and our whole model of the cosmos changed. But the idea of an angel in the stars, that never completely faded away. Its ghost, its legacy, is still all around us.
When you really think about it, this whole journey, from star gods to angels pushing planets, it's not really a story about the stars. It's a story about us. It's the story of humanity looking up into that massive, dark, silent sky and trying to find some order, some meaning, some sign that we're connected to something bigger.
So let's just do a quick recap of this incredible evolution. First, ancient people look up and see gods in the stars. Simple. Then, monotheism comes along and performs this brilliant bit of theological jujitsu, turning those star gods into star-managing angels. That idea then gets embedded in the Bible, where stars become symbols for both the glory of angels and their epic fall. That in turn becomes the literal science of the Middle Ages, how the universe works. And even now, after all that, the echo of it shapes our art, our poetry, and our everyday sayings.
So I guess the question is, the next time you're outside on a clear night and you look up at the stars, what are you going to see? Are you just going to see giant balls of burning gas trillions of miles away? Or are you maybe going to see the faint echo of that ancient celestial blueprint? A sky that was once alive with gods and angels and cosmic battles. What story will you see written up there?